I've spent most of my life struggling with my weight. I've tried just about every approach you can imagine, and I've had tremendous success and tremendous failure. I've actually lost 200 pounds twice. And if losing weight were the answer, my story would have ended there. But it didn't. Because eventually, the weight started coming back. And that forced me to ask a much bigger question. What if losing weight isn't actually the hardest part? What if the harder part is learning how to live differently once the weight is gone? For more than 20 years, I've also lived with diabetes, and I was using GLP-1 medication. Long before these medications became a major part of the weight loss conversation. And once again, I learned something important. There are tools that can help you lose weight. But losing weight and learning how to live differently are two completely different things. My biggest problem wasn't that I didn't know how to lose weight. It was learning how to stop allowing food to control my choices and my behavior. Stress, emotions, cravings, old habits. Those things can derail even the best plan. And that's when I started looking deeper. That question changed the direction of my research. Instead of asking, what diet should I try next? I started asking, what is actually happening inside my body when I eat? And that's when I started learning much more about metabolic health. Because the conversation isn't just about calories. It's also about how our bodies respond to food. Glucose, insulin, hunger, satiety, energy, and the signals that influence what happens between meals. Think about a typical day. Breakfast, maybe a snack. Lunch, another snack. Coffee, something in the afternoon. Dinner, maybe dessert. We're surrounded by food. And much of it is highly processed. So many people are eating almost continuously throughout the day. And perhaps something else later at night. We're surrounded by food, and much of it is highly processed. So many people are eating almost continuously throughout the day, and that can make metabolic health much harder to manage. Here's where the glucose conversation gets interesting. When we eat carbohydrates, our system breaks them down into glucose. The body responds by releasing insulin. Insulin helps move glucose into cells where it can be used or stored. But when our pattern creates large responses throughout the day, it can become harder to maintain stable energy and appetite. And many people recognize the feeling. You eat. You feel good for a while. Then your energy drops. You're hungry again. You start thinking about food. Maybe you reach for another snack, and the cycle starts over. Hunger is the most frustrating part. And when you're trying to lose weight, constant hunger can make everything harder. This is why I became so interested in this relationship. Because if you're constantly eating, you're constantly managing incoming fuel. But when you create reasonable periods between meals, your body has an opportunity to use energy from sources beyond the food you just consumed. That's the basic idea behind fasting. And this is where I want to make an important distinction. Fasting doesn't have to mean starving yourself. I'm not talking about extreme fasts. I've done the extreme approaches. I'm interested in something much more sustainable. Creating intentional periods for eating and not eating. During those periods, the body can draw increasingly on stored energy. It's a natural part of human metabolism. The goal isn't to punish yourself. The goal is a healthier rhythm. Then I discovered another piece of the puzzle that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Fiber. Plants don't come packaged as isolated sugar and starch. They come with fiber. But modern processing often removes that natural structure. And fiber can play an important role in digestion and satiety. That doesn't mean fiber is magic, but it's an important part of the conversation. For people who aren't getting enough fiber from their normal diet, that's something worth paying attention to. One area that caught my eye was research around the glycemic index and how different carbohydrate foods affect blood glucose. Refined foods can produce a faster rise. That doesn't mean carbohydrates are automatically bad. It means the form, amount, context, and individual all matter. That changed my thinking. I stopped asking what foods are good or bad and started asking, how can I build patterns that work better for my body? And that's what eventually brought me to the Feel Great system. What caught my attention wasn't another diet, it was time-based eating and fiber. The system combines Unimate and balance with a structured approach to meal timing. Unimate is based on yerba mate. It contains naturally occurring compounds, including chlorogenic acids. Balance is a targeted fiber-based nutritional product designed to be used before meals. The idea is simple. Use nutritional tools to help make a healthier eating pattern easier to follow. Not replace real food, not replace movement, not replace sleep, and certainly not replace medical care when it's needed. And here's the biggest realization I've had through all of this. I've already proven that I can lose weight. I've lost 200 pounds twice. So I don't need another lesson on how to lose weight quickly. What I need is to understand how to build a lifestyle. I don't want a lifestyle that constantly puts us back into the same cycle. I don't want another extreme diet or to starve myself. I want to understand how to properly fuel my body and create healthier eating patterns. I want to manage triggers, and I want to use the right tools to make those habits sustainable. That's why I'm passionate about the bigger picture of health. Metabolic health isn't in isolation. It's connected to what we eat, how often we eat, how we move, sleep, and handle stress. For me, that's the philosophy behind MFB Health. Not one magic product or diet, but learning, applying, adjusting, and building a blueprint. I'm not here to tell you that one system is right for everyone, but I encourage you to become more educated about your own metabolic health. Ask better questions. Understand what you're eating and the role fiber plays, because knowledge gives you choices, and choices give you freedom. So if anything I've shared today resonates with you, if you've tried diet after diet, reach out to me and just use the keyword answers. That tells us you're interested in learning more, and we can point you toward the information that may help you decide. Because maybe the answer isn't another diet. Maybe it's finally understanding why you've struggled and learning a better way forward.